All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Talk Football episode number 15. Uh, I believe our first ever Let's Talk Football, because these are available in podcast form, by the way. I'm going to emphasize this before people come in here live. The link is down below to listen to this specifically on Spotify. I can also throw it on Apple. You just type in Let's Talk Football, find it with Jackson Elstro with Aaron Rodgers on the screen. But the link is in the description of here. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting a follow to it or hitting even better a 5-star rating, that would mean the absolute world to me. I think it was 1 year ago, my first podcast on here. We only made 15, so I did a very bad job, and we're going to get going. What's up, Luca Rosano? Hope you're doing good here. I'm finishing my opening monologue for all the non-live viewers here. But my first ever podcast, I think, on Let's Talk Football was after the Detroit Lions lost to the San Francisco 49ers around this time last season. Now, I just made a Lions video. It's getting a ton of comments. I was not really aware at how many people thought Jared Goff was the sole issue tonight. I'm seeing a lot of stuff of a lot of people saying, "Hey, man, I told you guys don't pay Jared Goff. Don't give that man an extension." I just briefly thought of this 1 minute ago. It kind of reminds me of the Philadelphia Eagles when they lost in the Super Bowl a couple of seasons ago to Kansas City. 2 years ago, 3 seasons ago, but 2 years ago. Kind of feels like that because Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, earlier today, it looked like both of them clearly were not going to be coordinators for the Detroit Lions. Ben Johnson, whether it's the Raiders, whether it was the Bears, whatever, Aaron Glenn, Jets, Saints, Jaguars, whatever. And, I said this in my video, and maybe I was a little too emotional. I wouldn't hire Aaron Glenn to be my defensive or my head coach, but that's not even necessarily fully on tonight's game. There's going to be a lot of people, or even people watching this right now, myself included, who say, well, if you have 5 turnovers in a football game, if your starting quarterback turns the ball over 5 times, you're not going to win the game. If you give up 45 points or defensive, technically 38 points, you're not going to win the game. If you give up 28 points in 1 quarter, you're also not going to win the game. So the way I see it, just basing this off of Twitter, frauds. The way I'm seeing it based on Twitter, my YouTube comments, whatever, is this was a team effort, but obviously not in a good way here. Everybody is accountable here. 1 season ago, the thinking was maybe Ben Johnson's about to be the head coach for a football team, and obviously the whole Washington debacle, and both coordinators end up returning. This year feels a little bit different. To me, it feels, and once again, I'm not trying to blame Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn or Dan Campbell or Jared Goff or Jameson Williams or any of these players who, made mistakes or had some hiccups in tonight's game. I just think, obviously, you're injured. Obviously, the Detroit Lions are injured. Obviously. And Meek Robertson going down right away definitely doesn't help. There's no healthy cornerback. The cornerback you're relying on is a rookie, Terrion Arnold. But at the same time, I do think they had at this is important. I know it sounds annoying, but at the same time, the Detroit Lions were historically, catastrophically injured in a way you will probably never see again. But at the same time, they also, I feel like actually, no matter what comment I give, I'm just going to talk in circles because, like I just said, there's so many things to blame in this game. I don't think you can blame one specific thing. This was on Ben. This was on Jared. This was on Aaron. This was on whatever. Sometimes it's not meant to be, which is crazy for a 15-2 team hosting a playoff game against a rookie QB. So, it is what it is. We got Teddy in the chat. What's good? Burrito Leader saying 100% on Ben. I don't like this. This could be the NFC East, NFC title game. I don't like that either. Philly versus Washington. I said in my video, like, playoffs are canceled for me. family was just texting me a couple of minutes ago saying tomorrow's gonna be a great football game, great football day. I don't know, man. I like football and I'm gonna watch the Bills Ravens. I don't really care too much. Rams Eagles. I have no skin in the game, so that's why I don't care. But once I watch it, I'll be chilling. You're good, Robert. They might be clipping you for they might throw you on hidden. I get that a lot. Somebody will just say like a simple swear word. If you're under 18, don't swear, but somebody will just say like some simple swear and then they'll like get mad at me in the comments saying, "Stop deleting my comments." Like, hey man, I'm right there with you. The JMO interception should have never happened. Just a terrible call by Ben. So a good situation like that is a really good example of what I mean. I mean, at that point, wasn't Detroit down 2 touchdowns? I think they were down 14 points. Jameson should have never thrown that ball, but obviously I'm not going to get upset about a wide receiver throwing a football. You shouldn't put him in that situation, but at the same time, they needed a jolt. They needed a spark. I keep seeing a lot of stuff about, the Detroit Lions love their trick plays, and when they don't work, it looks really bad. I'm sure there have been instances this season, but I feel like that was truly the only trick play the Detroit Lions ran this season where I was like, whoa, what the hell? Don't do that. Usually if it's on that kind of line of thinking, usually it's, whoa, don't do that. And then it works. And it's like, oh, all right. Like the play where Goff sweeps it to Montgomery and then he like chips it to, what was it? I feel like it was St. Brown. It chips it to St. Brown. I was like, whoa. Oh, first down. All right. Our coaches are gone, OC and DC. I do think Aaron Glenn departing is, once again, injured roster. Does anybody want to hear the starting lineup? I kept doing this in my Lions videos because I was hyping up the Lions, obviously, all week. I have the Detroit Lions depth chart for this game here. On paper, it sounds phenomenal. And I did point out in these videos saying, well, their depth isn't the best. And you saw that right away with the meat going down. Josh Pascal, DJ Reader, Levi Onwuzurike, Zadarius Smith. Where the hell was Zadarius Smith tonight? Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Terrion Arnold, Melifanu, Kirby Joseph, Mika Robertson, Brian Branch. I mean, that's good enough to beat a rookie QB playing on your home turf after winning 15 games. Ben Johnson tried to, I think it was the Herd. Colin Cowherd was saying, like, watch out for some trick plays from Ben Johnson while he's looking for these head coaching gigs. I mean, prior to this, I don't know why you would even do that. I don't even know why that would be your line of thinking. The Raiders will probably give you a hand, a leg, an organ, firstborn. I mean, they'll give you whatever the hell you want for Ben Johnson. The Chicago Bears probably feel similarly, at least until Mike McCarthy became openly available. Absolute abysmal performance overall. I unfollowed every Lions social media page, and they should be ashamed for how they let down the entire country. Oh, God. I feel you. Loved your content all year. You stepped up the quality. Thank you, Clint. Appreciate you. If the Lions had a pass rush, kind of same type of issue with Tampa last week. We hit the quarterback. Man, I'm begging you to hit the quarterback. Campbell was right last year. NFC Championship against 49ers was a one shot. I really don't agree here. I think big talent needs to come on over. Obviously, there's a ton of caliber starters. My whole philosophy in my video I just made recap. It was rapid reaction. The game like literally just ended. I floated out a Max Crosby. Obviously, I don't think Max Crosby's leaving the Raiders, and I don't even think Brad Holmes necessarily would make a move like that. But I do think there's somewhere on the roster at full health strength that you could say this needs to be bolstered. And I think if the Lions had an opportunity, once again, I'm not saying Myles Garrett or Max Crosby, but I am just saying a step above Zadarius Smith, but a step below Aiden Hutchins. And that move was obviously at the trade deadline, so you can only do what you got to do or can do. But I do think a proven defensive dude's going to come into Detroit in the offseason and be that freaking guy. Aiden Hutchinson turned into that guy. Obviously, he's hurt. That's a big deal. Lee McNeil, Carlton Davis, like injuries played a huge role. Like I get and understand and agree that with a second string defense, or a lot of these guys are not supposed to be playing the amount of snaps that they're playing on paper, from the start of the year to right now. And Maurice Norris, like right out of the gate, is like, all right, you're starting in this game. When Amik Robertson went down, or Vildor, you're starting, you're playing in this game. I just think in a lot of ways, the Detroit Lions defense is extremely young. And I think Brian Branch is going to ascend to a star. I think he's kind of already at that star level. I feel like in the second half, I didn't really see that kind of, stars make plays, man. That's kind of my philosophy. Is like, is Brian Branch a star? You could argue yes, you could argue no. Is did Kirby Joseph turn into a star this year? Yes, he did. There's a lot of dudes on this defense. Can Terrion Arnold become a multi-year Pro Bowl or a potential All-Pro guy? 100,000%. Ali McNeil, if he didn't get injured, dude's having a phenomenal season. But at the end of the day, man, stars make plays. That's why it's such a big deal in the NBA. Stars make plays in games like this. And Detroit defensively is either banged up or young. So you have this window. So I don't think somebody's gonna say no to and what Dan Campbell meant by saying, this is our shot here, is coordinators. The NFL, and I think, what was it, Tom Brady made a whole point of this right at the end of that game, saying, like, that's why it's the NFL. Like, your clock resets. Detroit just won 15 games this season. They won, what, 14 last year? 13, right? They won 13 games, 12-5, sorry, obviously. 12-5 last season. The window's closed. The window's not closed for a 12-5 football team. Like, no, you have plenty of seasons. But I think what Dan Campbell is saying, stuff like you're seeing right now with coordinators being hired or potentially being hired to, hire up head coaching gigs, even starts down low, special teams, linebackers, et cetera, assistant GMs, guys start getting picked off for promotions from other teams. And also you're seeing injuries. And Jaden Daniels had a phenomenal game. And I hope he wrecks whoever the hell he plays, whether it's Philadelphia or Los Angeles. I assume it's going to be Philadelphia. But like, I was thinking before this, somebody said nobody will take Glenn after that horrible performance, right? Like, yeah, you're missing some dudes on defense. Who isn't? I was watching that Chiefs-Texans game, and guys are going down. Brian Cook, then McDuffie missed some time. Guys got hurt, and the Chiefs are relatively healthy. But you realize, like, Roger Goodell, because I was thinking, I saw Roger Goodell wants 18 regular season games this past week, and I'm thinking, like, you're watching this product with all of these dudes. Stephon Diggs, torn ACL. Tank Dell, torn ACL. You're watching all these Chief guys. Right guard for Houston went down early. Like, I don't think we need 18 regular season games, man. But guys are always going to get hurt in football. New coaches could be good. I agree. You should be ashamed for unfollowing Everline. Oh, geez. Sorry, I'm not trying to get into this. Cowboys need a major overall. Max Crosby hates the Lions. Is he really? Isn't he from? He went to Eastern Michigan. Isn't he from Detroit area or Michigan? Do you think Lions consider drafting a young QB like Jackson Dart in the second or third and have him sit for a few years? I think GMs are always going to think about stuff like that. I would say the second is way too early. I think it's way too early, man. Jared, how old's Jared Goff? Didn't he just literally turn 30? He just turned 30 in October. I feel like they kind of tried to possibly do that with Hendon Hooker. I also just heard a take on TV or YouTube, or somebody was like, oh, you think maybe Ben Johnson's going to go to Las Vegas and bring Hendon Hooker with him? Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Our coordinators had the worst call game of the year. I agree. Oh, there we go. Max Crosby doesn't hate the Lions. He picked against the Lions. NFL not for long. Ooh. A child calling games. Really. He's from Michigan, grew up in Texas. I've lost the plot. We're talking about Max Crosby. Oh, He's from Michigan, grew up in Texas. 30 still young. Yeah, I I agree, man. Yeah, there's one team that wins the Super Bowl every year, and for some reason, games like this hurt a lot because of how ugly it is, and obviously, the Jordan Love jersey there. I love my Green Bay Packers. We just got embarrassed from Philly. Um, but last year Green Bay lost to San Francisco. I really thought with a couple of special teams help, Green Bay could have won that game. Detroit narrowly, and what were you up 24-7? I mean, it's unbelievable. Should have won that. It's crazy, man. But at the end of the day, only one team wins the Super Bowl, and whether you don't make the playoffs or you lose in the first round of the playoffs with high or low expectations, or you're losing the divisional with high or low expectations, or you're losing the conference championship with high or low expectations, or you're losing the Super Bowl with high or low expectations. I mean, everyone's always going to be pissed off. So I really think as the week progresses, now obviously Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are able to be picked as coaches. And if they do, and then, Detroit, it's only January 19th. So let's say you wake up tomorrow and Ben Johnson's the head coach for the Chicago Bears, which I got a phenomenal comment the other day. Someone was like, if Ben Johnson's the head coach for the Chicago Bears, stuff in my house will be broken. I thought that was hilarious. But it's January 19th, and I don't think we've seen many, if any, coaching hires, coordinator or head coaches so far this cycle. So that's always stuff you want to keep in mind too. Seattle hired Mike McDonald January 30th or January 29th of last season. Mike McDonald's going to be a long coach for either Seattle or, if that doesn't work, the team he goes to next. But he had to hire Ryan Grubb out of college as his OC because it was January 30th, and a lot of these OCs already got picked up here. Oh, you're good, Robert. Got a lot of cats in here. Once again, hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. We do this and post it on podcast form if you want to listen to it. I got an opinion here. So John Lee said, it's funny that the entire NFC North were one and done in the playoffs. There were three of us in there. And then last week, before the Lions lost, everyone's saying maybe the NFC North wasn't good. I, as a Packers fan, find it. I think rivalries are what make sports a really big, emotional, personal deal. I don't I just saw a tweet from like a Packers Twitter account that I like, that posts good content, or like, hey, it's in all caps, and it's like, LOL, we're all drinking the same drink in Cancun at the same time. And it's like, geez, man, I'm from Chicago and I'm a Packers fan, and every time the Packers lose, especially only in the playoff games, people are like, oh, we got as far as I'd rather not make the playoffs than lose in the first round of playoffs. It's like, geez, man, Packers fans, Lions fans, Bears fans rejoiced with the Vikings loss 1 week ago. I don't really see sports in the same way. Obviously not relating to what John said here, but just on the same topic here. The Commanders team reminds me of the 2021 Bengals. I like that. I mean, Joe Burrow pretty much didn't play in his rookie season. I watched Joe Burrow rookie season. Isn't that crazy? It's a random Bears game in college, my college era, and I saw Joe Burrow right away. I don't think it might have been the home opener for the Chicago Bears. It was one of the first games before he unfortunately got injured. But that Washington team, man, they're legit. Jake Bates played good. Jake Bates is a stud. The dude's a stud. As a true Lions fan who said all season, Goff's not our Super Bowl quarterback. We will get there one day. Not with Goof. Go Lions. Did Amik Robertson break his arm? Because that's what it looked like. I mean, we didn't see a bone break or anything like that. I don't even know if that's medically correct, but I said that in my video, man. When Amik on it was the first drive, right? He got injured on Jaden's first or second pass attempt, and he was down, and somebody, I don't know if it was Brian Branch, somebody tried to pull him up on one arm, and he was, nope, that's not happening. And obviously that's not a good sign. And then the next pan to Amik was him, and I could have sworn he was crying. It looked like he was either crying or on the verge of tears, and it was like he's 100,000% not coming back to this game. So I saw it was an elbow injury, but it definitely, if you got a reaction like that, I would assume if Amik Robertson had an elbow injury, he's probably back out there on the field suffering through pain. The only thing I think with a competitor like that, a competitor on the lines. One really quick thing before we get into Chris's comment here, keep throwing them down below. One really thing I noticed, and I don't know why I noticed this in the Vikings game. When the Vikings lost the Rams 1 week ago on Monday Night Football, uh, Darnold was getting hit left and right, right? And I kept noticing how timid's probably not the best word. I'm not a scholar, but timid's probably the wrong word. But Sam Darnold would get hit down. He'd either get I think I could have sworn he got sacked 9 times. There's a sack where Sam Darnold was in the fourth quarter. Obviously, Minnesota was going to lose the game, but technically they weren't for sure out of the game. And Sam Darnold got sacked, and there was nobody around him. He picked himself up, and I'm just watching this. I'm like, what? Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Could you imagine if you played football, maybe more physical? If you played football or basketball is even a good representation. Somebody goes up for a layup, gets hacked, and they're on the ground. What do? Oh, let's go. I'm gonna go back to the 3-point line and get ready for these free throws. I'm picking his ass up, and that is one thing I really noticed when I watch the Detroit Lions: how much these dudes truly do love each other, and how much they support each other, and how much of a team this is. And you can't buy that. I mean, I'm telling you, man. What would there be now? 4 teams left in the NFL after this. I mean, there's at least 28 teams in the National Football League that would love and kill to be in the Detroit Lions situation right now. I think Brad Holmes should trade for Myles Garrett, an elite defensive. I don't think I really don't think a Myles Garrett or Max Crosby was truly available. I think if Detroit was going to make a move at that magnitude, it would have been 2 years ago. But obviously, at that point, that was a little ahead. But I think a Myles Garrett or Max Crosby, unless you're willing to give up something you don't want to give up, and that means picks and players, or picks and players and picks still too. I don't think it would really be worth it too. I can't wrap my head around being upset. Obviously, the season's a failure in the sense of, well, you went 15-2, you won the NFC North, and you're 15-2. You're playing a rookie QB at home. The season's a failure in that sense. But as far as long-term trajectory goes, man, when you zoom out, I mean, we're looking at come on, man. Bitcoin's at 15K. Come on. 32 points off 4 turnovers. Oh, jeez. Jared Goff did no. I've never, ever in my entire life felt worried when Jared Goff takes a drop back. When you're watching a team, either you support, probably in that case, you're watching a team you support, and let's say it's 4th and 1, no matter what the game situation is looking like, and it's 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 or whatever it is, be anywhere on the field. And you know how when you're going up against a guy like tonight, it was Jaden Daniels. Last week for me, it was Jalen Hurts. You're going up against a good quarterback, or your defense is just playing away the Lions played tonight, and you're thinking, fuck, I don't think they can stop it. I don't feel good about this. I don't want to watch this. It's 3rd and 1. I don't feel good about this. I felt that way about Jared Goff dropping back right out of the gate in tonight's game, which I've never felt about Jared Goff, or honestly any other quarterback not named Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love. Can the Packers beat a team like the Redskins someday? Man, we got 36 people in here. I'm sure a couple of them will be upset about this. The fact they're not the Redskins, man, it's so different to me. And I'm a little bit younger, so I'm not used to expansions necessarily. The Las Vegas Golden Knights make no sense to me. What is Cleveland Guardians makes no sense to me. The Washington Commanders make no sense to me. And I said that in my Lions video a couple of days ago, and not everyone, a couple of people were like, probably Shouldn't be watching, but anyways, what a disaster. Goff absolutely sold. I don't even know what they should do after this. Both coordinators gone as well. Well, they still have a good look at a couple of coordinators. You still got every option out there right now. So that is good for Detroit. And this isn't 10 years ago. This is Ben Johnson's about to get a head coach. Let's say Ben Johnson gets a head coaching gig, Aaron Glenn gets the head coaching gig. All right, kind of want to go to Detroit. And it's all going to be in-house. And I made a whole video about this. I think it was actually only for my Lions channel. There is got Tanner Enstrand, passing game coordinator for the Detroit Lions, would feel so comfortable if he is the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Scotty Montgomery, the run guy, the running back coach. Also, anyone who's been under Dan Campbell for a couple of seasons, Ben Johnson for a couple of seasons, but I do understand. All right, you just made the championship last year, lost in the divisional round. We maybe want a little bit more proven. Coordinators, man, I will just throw this in here real quick because obviously I'm not, I love football and I always will watch football, but I'd never really, lifelong Packers fan, but more of a casual NFL fan until I started making YouTube videos. One thing I've noticed in the last 3 years doing this every day is how often coordinators. I was truly just a casual NFL fan for my whole life, and I really realized in the last couple of seasons how often the turnover for coordinators is, and how sometimes it's a really big deal, sometimes it's not a big deal, and you don't even remember. And good coaches hire good coaches, and I view Dan Campbell as a good coach. So even if both of these or one of them's gone, I think it's fine. I was saying to my girl watching this game, because I was very pissed off. I was very pissed off right away, honestly, right away. And I talked about that in my video. You guys should watch it after this. But after Jameson Williams' interception, it was clear. All right, Lions are losing this. I was so upset. I was so annoyed. I drank, I wasn't planning on drinking a couple of beers tonight. I drank a couple of beers tonight. I was upset at this, and I said to her, I was like, I couldn't even imagine, man. Like if I was a born and bred Detroit Lions fan, man, I would, because she's got work tomorrow. I was like, I'd call off if I was you. If I was in your life, I'm not going to work tomorrow, man. Give me like YouTube, or give me a pack of yellow spirits and a 12-packer of Bud or Stella, and let me just get through this, And I honestly, I didn't even feel that way about my Packers loss. So I love this Lions team, man, and just from an outsider's perspective, you guys are perfectly fucking fine. Like you're so unbelievably fine. It's annoying to every team in the National Football League except one, and that's whoever wins the freaking Super Bowl. But I understand it, XJ, the history to this franchise and the history to this team, and I completely understand it, and it sucks, man. I'm really shocked at the people who are not with Jared. I have a question for any Lions fan, or this for any Lions fan, but especially people who do not think Jared Goff is the quarterback. What are you doing next? Thank you, Love Berkey. Appreciate you. See you next time. Have a great one. I'm curious to anybody who doesn't think Jared Goff is the dude. What are you doing? What's the move here? You're drafting a QB. You drafting a QB at 26. You're moving forward with Hendon, Teddy. You picking up Justin Fields? You going for Sam Darnold? What's the alternative here? Backyard bullshit play. I love that. I hate it. And I hated every second of it. When he threw the football, man, when you're talking to the TV, you're talking to your TV and you're saying, don't do that. Don't do that. Jameson's running to the right and he's running to the top of the sideline. He's got this football palmed. He's got it gripped. He's looking downfield. I'm saying to the TV, I'm talking to a TV, man. It's Saturday night. I'm not in Rockefeller Plaza. I'm yelling at the TV, Jameson, don't throw that football. He threw the fucking football. I just don't throw the football. There were so many Jaden Daniel RPOs tonight where I see 3 Washington Commander wide receivers lined up at the top of my screen. And I see 2 Detroit defensive backs. I mean, I'm not a football guru. I'm not a future coordinator, but I am watching at least 5 times in this football game. I see 3 Washington. Jane Daniels loves RPOs. Huge RPO offense. Run pass option. That means you have the option. That means Jaden Daniels can look at what he sees and make an option. I'm watching it, and I see 3 Washington Redskin wide receivers. We're at that point in the night. It's 12:30. I don't care. I see 3 Redskin receivers at the top of my screen and 2 Lion defensive backs. I'm no guru. I'm not John Gruden. I'm not a future DC. And then I see like a linebacker at the line of scrimmage, like keep pointing at the DBs. And he's like, yeah, I got you. I mean, like, why did I watch that numerous times tonight? I feel like I sounded like RFK. Why? But why did I watch that numerous times? Someone updated Aaron Glenn's wiki page, stating he's a former player, bad coordinator. Oh no! All right, now we're going on Wikipedia. It's crazy I can just do that. Is this real? All right, just a loose fact check. I don't see it. Oh, God, he's right. All right, I'll pull it up on the screen. And this is going to make it hurt a little bit more. Maybe you can get a good laugh out of this. Can you see this on the screen? All right, Aaron Devon Glenn, born July 16th, 1972, is an American professional football coach and former quarterback who was a bad defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. God damn it. Unbelievable. There you go. This is all that needs to be put on the newspapers. From Beach Lover, respect. It's on both sides tonight. A team loss. There you go. Another quarterback. All right, how about I give you Justin Fields? The Football Limited test. Here's Justin Fields. What are you gonna do with him? I've always come from the stance, and Justin seems like a cool dude. But the second I figured out, and first off, I'm a Packers fan. That's Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers, and I'm sorry to my Lions fans and I don't really mean disrespect in this sense, but when I learned that the starting quarterback, aka Justin Fields, was going to be for the Chicago Bears, he was a vegan. I could kind of see it coming. And I know people don't like hearing stuff like that. So I'm going to end it. I'll end it with that take because that pisses some people off. But I'm pretty sure if my starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears doesn't eat meat, I don't think he's going to be the one to turn the franchise around. But folks, that is it. Thank you all for tuning in live, post live. This is available on streaming sites. We are doing this a couple of times a week. I appreciate it. We only have 5 reviews on Spotify. Goes a very long way to just building the page, getting more listens in here. So I appreciate you guys. Very sorry. I was going to maybe talk about the Kansas City Chiefs Houston Texas game, but I don't think anyone in here really cares. Neither do I. Chiefs are good. Texans are also good. Banged up. Refs are always going to be annoying. But I think you're right, John. I think Derrick Henry is a vegan as well. All right, hold on. Because I think you're right. No, Derrick Henry is not a vegan. He follows a very strict diet that excludes fried foods, dairy, gluten, and artificial sugars. But he does eat meat and is not considered vegan by any means. All right. I think Brady's turned into a vegan. Tom Brady can do whatever the fuck he wants. Thank you for watching. Peace.